So the thing that we wanted to do here was I was on a podcast not too long ago.
Which one?
Well,
I know you've been on a bunch,
I've
but
been on a bunch. But I don't remember which one it was
okay.
because it wasn't about me being on the podcast. It was somebody on the team listened to it and came to me and said, "Hey, I listened to that podcast you were on, and I never knew." So they were referencing something about like the business. They were like, "I never knew that." I thought to myself, "Huh, like we take for granted how long we've been in business together with each other, and there's just so many cool things that like you and I have been together. We've been in business what 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of years go by, and we take for granted that. Well, I know everything about Joe, and I just assume well everybody else knows everything about Joe, but that's not really the
No,
case.
I would say probably the vast majority of people don't actually know anything about what I do.
Because like again, like you and I have spent years together and time together and worked on our business together. But there's, the team is growing, our opportunity and expansion and, multiple states is happening. And like, you're a leader on the team. You're somebody that a lot of people look up to. You're training, you're mentoring. A lot of people don't know your backstory. And I'm a fan. Like I'm a fan of Joe. Like I think there's a lot to learn from you. So I wanted to take an opportunity to do agent interviews inside so that the agents that are joining us, that are growing with us, that are part of our future, also get to know what kind of a leader you are and kind of person you are. So let's just kind of do the start from the beginning thing.
Okay.
Like early version of like emerging Joe Dabkowski. Where'd your life and career start? Like what's the theme there? Where did that start for you?
So 2013 is when I got my license. I would really say that the genesis obviously started well before that. So
It's just like in sales or real estate.
I would say entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
Started well before that. So I grew up playing hockey, and that's where a lot of my framework came from. My parents in hockey. That's where everything really got developed. I don't know. So the real estate side of it, every single house that we ever lived in, my dad did some sort of project on it. Drove my mother nuts, but we did it. So I always had that knack. Was introduced to the real estate world early because my mom kind of did it as a little bit of a hobby. My uncle flipped.
She was a realtor.
She did a part-time.
Okay.
She had a full-time career, but just did it part-time because she enjoyed doing it. Got her brokerage license. My uncle flipped houses, so then she helped him with that side of it.
You saw it.
Yes, 100%.
You saw it.
Yeah. So, funny story. My graduation gift from high school was a lawnmower from my parents.
Yeah.
Commercial lawnmower. So
started landscaping though.
Yeah. So in senior year of high school into college, that's what I did in summers. Along with that, I played hockey. I was doing private lessons. So I always had this knack of being able to create opportunities for myself and, kind of sell myself in the services that I provided. I was always somebody that was not a very good, I don't work well within the framework of a normal 9 to 5. I don't mind working long hours. And it's funny because I enjoy putting structure on myself, but not in a structured setting.
It's a classic. An entrepreneur is the only person that will quit a job work 40 hours a week just so that they can work 80 hours.
Yeah. 100% fall within that realm. So,
whatever it takes, but don't tell me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no.
So I played hockey, played in college, played 2 years of minor pro, and then I started coaching, working for myself and doing various coaching jobs, and got my real estate license and was trying to figure it all out. I think that's when we first met. I first joined KW.
How old were you then?
2013. Ordered. I remember it was 23, 24.
So young, really young.
Yeah, so super young. Completely different market than it is now. And I'm glad that I got into it then to see the difference of what that was versus what this was. Completely different. I think people, especially here now, if they go to different parts of the country, they could probably get a little bit of a taste of what we were dealing with back then. So it's nice to have some juxtaposition of two different eras of real estate.
Sure.
Got out of it because I wanted to do the coaching full time. I wanted to see where my life would go, how that would look like. And I invested so much time, effort, and energy into this that I wanted to see.
How far can I take?
Yeah, exactly.
And I assume, at that point in life too, you're still pretty nimble, like still capable of, like age hasn't really set in yet. And you're not in a major meaningful way.
Yeah, still running around, still, on the ice, skating crazy. And, there's opportunity and options, especially at that point in time. Then I hit a certain point where I knew that the opportunities here were not going to be something that was going to align with what I wanted for my future self. I was going to have to move around and do all these sort of things. And I just didn't want that. I didn't want to, just to be traveling out of a suitcase potentially every single year. So that's when I kind of flipped the script, came back in and said, I've done real estate.
Did you ever have a normal, quote unquote, 9 to 5? Did you ever have a traditional career? Or, basically your whole history right now sounds pretty outside the norm, outside the box, right? Like coaching hockey, teaching lessons, a stint in real estate, followed by more coaching hockey, teaching lessons into real estate. Was there ever a time when you had to get up every day, put out a shirt and tie, show up somewhere at 9 a.m. and clock in?
I had 2 clock-in jobs. There are 3. I worked at an ice rink. It's like not really straight, yeah. So still there. They needed some Zamboni drivers and a front desk and all of that. So yeah, I had a clock-in job. That was around the same time. So I was doing a couple of different things, working at the rink, coaching, doing all of that. And then as I was transitioning from hockey into coaching, I worked at a golf course for a little bit.
Okay.
Because that's actually, I'm very much into golf, and it was a career path that I was thinking about. I didn't have much to do at that point in time because I was just trying to figuring out what I wanted to do, and it gave me a free golf membership.
All right. Awesome benefit.
Yeah, and I ended up meeting my wife there. So
okay,
yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, so it all worked out. Yep.
All right. So the thing that I know you. So number one, kudos to you for knowing at a young age and having the insight into your own personality to sort of drift toward things that serve you at a high level. Because a lot of people, it takes them a while to figure that stuff out. I want to unpack that for a minute.
Okay.
Because that's something that's very unique to you. First of all, you came out of a career that was, very competitive athletics. But you had 2 clock-in jobs, as you say. But let's be honest, those both were related to, there's never been a khakis, shiny shoes version of Joe that went somewhere with a button-down shirt into corporate boardrooms and sat around and listened to people growing on. There's never been an office space version.
No, not really, no.
Did you know that was never going to be a part of your future? Was there, or was it just kind of how you drifted? Did you? Because I personally, I had to try that out to figure out I'm totally unemployed. I tried it out and realized this is not for me. So I suffered through it for a period of time. Somehow you knew. How did you know?
I think going back to your question, I think I just kind of always drifted that way. I think there's a part of me that had the expectation that at some point in time I was going to. It just never really manifested. I very much could have, after college, say, hey, I just need to get an interview, get a job. And
sure.
I think part of that is just the support that I had from my family to go after the things that I wanted to do, and made some pretty good decisions early on. And, going to the school that I went to, coming out with 0 debt, left me feeling unencumbered. As much as, I went to Central, had a great experience, Love the people that I met there, played hockey, like just had a lot of accomplishments there. But there's also the side of me like, what have it been like to go to a big time school? With that being said, the trade-off was I came out of that unencumbered to do whatever the heck that I want. So I never felt the pressure of a looming student loan debt that I needed to go get a job to take care of. It's like, okay, I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to go try this. I'm going to go try this. I'm going to go experience, life in the world to figure out how I want to live it.
Kind of a blessing and a curse, to be honest, because I think like a lot of the successful agents that I know come from a place of lack initially, meaning they start out with like, okay, my back's against the wall, and this is a very difficult business to get going in, and without a sense of urgency, a lot of agents fail. Like a lot of agents just don't find that. That is nothing to be further from the person that I know. You've always been somebody who's like a dog on a bone. You see something, you get laser focused on it, and then you just hammer at it. So you have this open field, and then you get into real estate. And I remember those early years when you showed up in the office, and they tell every single agent, come in and lead generate for 2 hours, but you were the only one that really did. I remember hearing you on the phone. I remember seeing you come in every day. I remember you making the calls at that time too, when the market was very different than it is now. Where did that come from? Was that like just always who you were?
I think yes. And then, growing up, parents had instilled a work ethic in me. And it's very much, why I was so successful in a lot of the sports. I had a lot of, natural abilities too, but I was never biggest, fastest, strongest, but always willing to work harder than everybody else. So I had a good amount of talent that would work harder than somebody that's more talented than I am to have bigger results. So a lot of that, I feel, I don't like to be bad at anything. I just don't like to be bad. So I will, whatever I pick up, I will probably almost to a fault get obsessed with until I'm good at it to a point where I know that I can compete. Right.
So you're like, I can relate to that. I music more than I like winning.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a funny part. Like, I don't want to be I don't want to be bad at it. I really don't, I'm not so driven by like, I've got to be something. I just really can't stand it. How do you bring that same energy to?
So I think at the beginning it was understanding and learning, I think, the conversations. And back then I don't think I could probably articulate it as well as I can now. But looking at what successful people are doing within the real estate business, in the office, I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to show up every day. Almost what I was saying is like, I knew I needed to get a job in an office. So this I got to go do. Just go do it. And I'm not someone like we've done this profiles. It's very high D. So it's like, this is the result that you have to do. Just go do it. Just go figure it out. Right. And I think that's really at the beginning, what made me show up every single day, make the calls. I didn't know any better either.
Right.
They just didn't know any better.
That's the greatest thing is not knowing. Honestly, I think it's the gift of even when you started in 2013, you said not knowing all the things that are out there. I think the worst thing that real estate agents get today in 2025 is exposure to way too many options, way too many ideas, because everybody has a pedestal and everybody has a stage through social media, and those people that can be exceptionally talented at message can lead a lot of agents astray from the core fundamentals of what this job is, which is, hey, just go shake more hands and talk.
Yeah, and I think I was, again, fortunate to have quality people run into my life at specific times, right? So when I first got my license, I was actually under my mother's brokerage, and I was coaching, and we had a conversation. It's like, if you're going to make this a career, you're probably going to want to find somebody that has been doing this, full time. Like, it's so, not that she pushed me out the door, but it's like, I do this.
She's like, hey, I might not be the mentor.
Yeah. She's like, she didn't have to say this per se, but she's doing this, for fun as a hobby to do what she can with it. If you want to make this a career, go out there and see what else is. Fortunately, the first person I talked to, I don't think I could have had a better first person to talk to than Brad Knowles.
Oh yeah.
Just introduced me into the Keller Williams world, what that has to offer, what they provided, and yeah, this makes sense. So,
and coming from a again competitive athletics background, coming from an environment where working hard and being learning based and constantly shooting to improve, well, there is no better environment than where we are, KW, that just really embodies that, right?
yeah, because at that point in time, I just needed to learn. I knew I needed to learn what I didn't know, and that this was the only place that at that point in time was offering anything. So I sat down, went to a ton of the classes, and just learned as much as I could. And this is what they're telling me to do. So I just sat at the desk and just went to work.
What though, in those first early years, what did you find to be the most challenging?
Dealing with rejection and not immediate results. I think that's the hardest thing, because I can, coming from a competitive sports, like you work for even at the highest level, minimal gains, but you see some immediate gratification.
There's feedback.
Yeah, much quicker feedback. So having a longer feedback loop, faced with more rejection, not being at the top 1% of a field that I had been, those are probably the most challenging pieces to it. I guess probably there's just still so much that I didn't know that I wanted to do. Being on your own is a little bit challenging too. Just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah. And there's like, I always look at 3 component parts of really successful. There's skills, there's habits, and there's appetite. And without any one of those, you're unlikely to be wildly successful.
Yeah.
You have to, number one, and I think that agents over index on any one of them at any given time. But in the beginning, it starts with this idea of an appetite. Like, I'm hungry for success in this industry. If you don't have the appetite, you will not do what it takes to create the habits. The habits are the hardest thing to form. But you had, I think, an advantage coming in from an athletics background where, like, showing up to practice wasn't optional.
Yeah.
Like, showing up and doing the drills wasn't optional. Like, you didn't get to sit out. You played all in because you expected to win and you wanted to get better, and if it wasn't about you, it was about lifting the team. So the appetite component was there and the habits were there, but then all that's left is the skills. And this is the other thing that I think agents will fail at, that I've watched you become an absolute master of, whether it's scripting or dialogues or just in how you present yourself. Let's talk about the gap at 24 versus you today, 13 years later. Where did you lean into skills and how did they become the bedrock of what you do? Because when I think of Joe Dabkowski today, I think of a highly skilled agent. Like, you've got capacity to handle situations, right? Which is something that not every agent has. So how did you figure that part out?
So first and foremost, the easiest answer to that is just being in the mud more, like doing more. You have to put yourself in those situations, right? And you don't get there, right? You don't get those opportunities, or when you don't have those opportunities, the only thing you can do is practice, right? So I remember early on, I did classes, and I just didn't, I don't think I was able to connect real estate and sports as well then as I can now, right? So I didn't think, okay, this is my practice, and then when I make calls, those are my games. So I didn't lean, as much as I learned, I didn't lean into the practicing as much until later on, to the point where I was practicing 5 days a week and then calling. And we were fortunate, we had a group here that would show up and make calls, and we would help each other out, script role play, or say, oh, I heard that was really good, or oh, hey, did you think of this? So being in that environment certainly helps.
That's getting into a regular habit of this requires the very first thing you said, which is recognizing that you only get better. Use the term being fun.
Yeah.
You only get better by doing.
Mhm.
And the tricky part of business is that most agents think they'll get better by going on more appointments, which is true, but you're basically practicing during the game. You're running plays before in real time.
Yeah, and one of the things that I hear when especially newer agents are practicing, and I can tell that they haven't been in. You could tell me, I could tell me a script practice something. I could tell you how many deals they do. Is how good they are as the client. How good are you at understanding what they're going to say back? Because until you know that, then you don't know the other side of the equation, right? So I can sit here and we could have 5 different people, and I could tell you, yeah, that probably person's done less than 5, or that person's done 30, just based on who they are as a client.
I love that. You can tell by them playing the client how effective they would be in a meeting because they haven't heard enough objections.
Exactly.
They haven't they not only have they not practiced enough, they just haven't gone on real stuff. They haven't heard real things that come up, real concerns or real emotional elements that show up for customers.
Yeah. So the way I equate it right now, and I think, well, I play a lot of golf and I play a lot of pickleball. Both have the same parallels, right? You can practice. Let's just say you go to the driving range and hit. But then you go out on the course and you're like, you know what? I'm missing a lot of shots to the right, and my chipping isn't as good. So then you can take that feedback. So I'm going to work on all of that. So I keep getting this commission objection, right? I need to figure out how to practice that, but you're not going to really know that at the beginning when you just, you get that feedback, you're in the game, then you come back and you get really, really good at that. Oh, I've hammered this one, but now this one, I can't really find their motivation with their teeth.
Yeah. I'm not saying something right or explaining something. I'm not asking the right question.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that. It's really, really, really interesting because obviously, one of the core foundations of what I think we do exceptionally well is frameworks, right? So we teach like a 5-step buyer consult. We teach the 6 to 8 strategic conversations. We teach a transaction management system. We teach the way that we present a listing. We teach an agent specifically how to build the data. Like we have these very specific frameworks, and then agents that come here are allowed to build off of that. And that's the finer detail that you're talking about. Too many agents skip over the framework. They immediately go to, I'll just make it up as I go. Almost as if they were going to play golf and pick a different club to drive with every time they go drive. Right? Oh, I'm just going to go out here and this time I'll use a 7-iron, and next time I'll use a 9. And then this time I'll try a pitching wedge, and then I'll try a driver. And then when they get to the driver and they hit it, they go, wow, I must be so good. I crushed it without giving supplement to, or without giving credit to the fact that, no, that's actually a system.
Yeah.
Like there's a system. How much did that play into your success? Like how much of the system did you build first? How long did it take you to get real confident in a baseline system?
Baseline system, we're talking like when I first started.
Consult, like I'm sure that your consults, because successful agents always have a baseline. Like I'm sure there's a consult formula that you follow. Like how many deals before you said, okay, I get it. Now here I am. This is what I do.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think about that actual number, but I remember when I first joined the team, first in the buyer consult, would miss stuff. We'd get through it. We'd get bumpy. We'd get some contracts signed, but it wasn't the smoothest. I would say feeling really like super dialed in and being able to weave and navigate, I think it was probably like 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. It took me a lot less time to figure out how to get a contract signed, and have the clients on the other side feel confident in me. I think that's a different thing. Like I can make another person feel confident in me being able to represent them, but me feeling confident in what I've presented, that's the best version of what they could see on the other side.
What I try to help agents understand why I think this is so valuable is that I deliver the exact same consult to a $2 million seller that I do to a $85,000 home seller. It's literally the exact same formula. It's not the same words always, and it's not the same outcomes, but it's the exact same framework and formula. Because what that allows me to do is be hyper focused on the things that they need. It
Mhm.
actually it takes the guesswork out. It also eliminates the need for me to be liked,
Mhm.
which is what I think too many agents over index on. Like you said, you can get them to feel good about you because that's natural. You're a likable guy. You're going
Mhm.
to you be able to turn on the charm and get them to like you. But then you're in a relationship that's based on them liking you, not based on qualitative outcomes and results,
Yeah.
which is actually what the consumer wants. What they want is, can you sell my house for me? And can you be, and then you can be friends with me after. But like, let's focus on the outcome first. I think that's something you do really well, actually. Knowing that the clients that you have and the relationships that you get in, I feel like you're in a very good spot, especially in the last 2 years as your business has grown and being in like, very I call it credible relationships with your clients. Your clients trust you and know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's, when I personally evaluate success, my thing is, okay, did I help them get them what they want, right? I know we've had this conversation before. I want all my clients to like me. I want my validations really focused on, did I do a fantastic job for them, right? And I've gotten these relationships where they feel that I'm a trusted, allied partner in all of this. And I think the best measure that I have for the relationships that I built is when I get texts from past clients asking me real estate questions, or even my friends like asking me that haven't done business with me yet, asking me real estate questions because they want my opinion.
That's really awesome. That's not, yeah, that feedback doesn't come during the deal. That feedback comes long after when they say, hey, we're thinking about doing a bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
wondering what your thoughts are. I'll never forget a good friend, now a good friend, a client, called me to ask me what the impact of getting a hot tub would be on the house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him asking me that question. I called him up and I said, well, zero. It'll have zero impact. However, and he's still to this day, and this is probably 15 years ago, he still to this day says it's one of the best pieces of advice he got. And I said, it'll have no impact on the house. The value of a hot tub is zero after it's put in. But the bigger question is, what's the impact it'll have on your life?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a thing you want? If it's a thing you want, it's 10 grand, buy the freaking hot tub and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And still that he's like, I'm in it every day. And every time I sit there, I'm like, and it's funny because again, that's not real estate advice, but that's like when you become the trusted advisor for somebody. And that is really the reward. And that's the reward. That's when the business starts to really feel good. You
Yeah.
feel like you've gotten through the grind and you're starting to have an impact. So what's next for you, Joe? What are you most interested in your career path right now?
So very excited about continuing to grow the personal business to the level that I expect. So that's one. Two, one of the big projects we've been working on internally is new construction and what that looks like. We've got a couple projects that we've been working through and having some success at, and really learning that process. So that's very exciting. I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole there, and then next phases of investment.
Yeah.
Again, we've been looking at other markets, not just Connecticut, as possible places to start finding some great opportunities.
Yeah. So how about personally, like, recently got married,
Mhm.
right? You've got a getaway destination wedding happening
Yep.
in a couple of months, right? Version 2.0.
Yeah.
There's the official wedding and then there's the version 2.0
Yeah.
party wedding.
Yep.
What about in your life? Because you've got, probably a solid 20 more years of career in front of you.
Yeah.
What's the future look like 10 years from now? Picture.
10 years from now, I have found a way to curate this business to where I can be on a golf course. The high
I
percentage,
love it.
that's the ultimate goal. I need to find a way to do that. That's the vision that I have for my life from a personal standpoint. Selfishly, I want to find a way to make that work. Uh, I see ourselves, we're going to be married, hopefully have some kids running around, and have our forever home, and some, properties that are all over. I got family out in Arizona, so properties up there, Hopefully find something down in Florida too, because it's such a great deal. Playing a lot of golf and a lot of pickleball. Yeah.
All right, go back to 24-year-old Joe.
Yep.
And you're going to give him some advice today.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to sit down with 24-year-old you. What are you going to tell you about future real estate and what he ought to know?
Meet as many people as you can and focus on the relationships that you've had with those people, because that will be the most important thing for your success. Show up every day, gas pedal down, continue to do what you're doing, but just keep meeting more people. The more people that you're going to meet, the greater opportunities that you're going to find. I think that's, if I could go back in time and say, if I, ship things, more, because back then I just hunted. That's all I did was hunt. I didn't do a lot of relationship building and networking. I think that's the advice that I would have. And buy more houses sooner.
Yeah, sooner. That's great advice.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just touched on something. Just kind of wrap up. There's an element of this business that feels transactional, and at the same time, it's really not a transactional business. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, I would give myself almost the exact same advice.
Yeah.
It took me 6 or 7 years early in my career, maybe less, to figure out that it wasn't about finding a deal. It was about finding a human, and that there was always an opportunity to serve people, whether that was through real estate or other, and that as long as you were in service to others, the opportunity.
Yeah.
And because the business itself fundamentally isn't that complicated, it's not terribly tricky. It's important, and there are important parts of it, but it's not that difficult as long as you're always coming from a place, and you use the word helping them what they want. All right, man. Thank you for taking the time to do this. This is version 1.0. We're gonna reboot this on 2.0. Maybe we can dig into some of the construction and development stuff that we're on next time we get together.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to. All right.